Hey there everyone, welcome back to the Doug and Resto YouTube channel. On today's episode, we're going to start buttoning up the engine bay. Thanks for coming back for another video, guys. In today's video, we're going to show you some hardware restoration. Just going to be a quick short video. All we did here was hit everything with the sandblaster. Then we hit with a little bit of WD-40 to give it that wet look. This is just one instance in some components that are supposed to be bare metal. These bolts, some of them are supposed to be yellow chromate, that factory yellow style finish that you see most commonly. Eventually I'll get an electroplating set up and do a lot of this electroplating myself, but for now all I wanted to do is get the bolts cleaned up back in their factory locations without putting rusty hardware back into a clean car. For me, this is what makes a big difference in a restoration, just the attention to detail. Of course, it would be a lot easier to go out and buy new hardware, but some of us can't afford to do that, and I'm trying to do this project on as much of a budget as I can, just to prove to everyone that you don't have to be a huge shop with unlimited resources to do a quality job. So as you can see, I started buttoning up some of the stuff in the engine bay, got some of the stuff cleaned up. As you can see, like the radiator mounts, like the hood latch. I got the K-member cleaned up and painted all the way and reinstalled for the most part. Got the brake lines cleaned up, splitter, master cylinder, brake booster, all the cables, speedometer, throttle cable, clutch cable, and the wiper motor. That's just some of the stuff we got cleaned up. I tried to sandblast as little as I could because I like keeping the factory style finish. Like this master cylinder, this is the original master cylinder, still has the Ford part numbers on the bottom of it. Didn't sandblast any of this, and it was mainly just covered in grease. So all I did was clean it up with some brake clean. This zinc chromate or yellow chromate is still in really good shape, besides a little bit of pitting here. The wiper motor, same kind of deal. All I did was remove the bracket off the wiper motor itself, painted the bracket again, sandblasted that, painted it. Cleaned up the little eyelets, they still have the yellow chromate on them and everything. Cleaned up the wiper motor cover. This is still in really good shape, surprisingly. Sandblasted the aluminum part. Same thing with the cables. The cables, all I did was hit them with a little bit of brake clean, and they cleaned up. Still factory style. I don't know if you can see it, but it still has the yellow line on it that the factory cable had. This was the factory sticker on it, the engineering number. Cleaned up the brake lines as well. Sandblasted these short ones, polished them up a little bit with a wire wheel. Reinstalled the hood snorkels, got those cleaned up. I'm finally rolling again. We got the dash finished up, that's dyed. I'll show you that in the next episode. We have the harness for the most part ran. I did end up keeping that harness on that side, but running it through the hole there, and it'll come out the fender up here. That one on that side, same deal, just went through the inner fender, zip tied up to the support here, so it's out of the way of the suspension. Came out here, here's the plugs for the headlights. Ignition box plugs and everything are in there. I'll have to extend the harness to go underneath. Have to run some of these wires over here where I'm going to put the solenoid. Same deal here. This harness just ran all the way up here. I haven't zip tied that one up yet. Like I said, we are going to eliminate the voltage regulator, so that plug is going to go away. We're just going to eliminate some of the stuff that we don't need now. Like this can get extended out, cleaned up, simplify everything. These cars are pretty simple with how they work. I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is to do this kind of stuff at home. You know, I'm nobody special. I'm just Joe Blow at home in his garage, tearing stuff apart, cleaning it up, and putting it back together. This kind of little stuff is what makes a restoration for me. It's just the attention to detail. I've seen it time and time again where they'll just paint all this stuff black and put it back in and it's fine. You know, if that's what you're going for, that's okay, but it's just not what I'm going for. I like to take the time, make everything look right, you know, make it look like it could have came from the factory like this, like it should have came from the factory like this. It just goes to show that with a little bit of time and effort, you can achieve really good results, and I think this is coming along pretty well so far. You know, take for example the cowl and the windshield trim. I mean, it had a lot of rock chips in it when I got it, like you saw. But just this cowl piece, the windshield trim all together is $200. Just on that, you could have bought a Harbor Freight sandblaster, Sandblasted all this stuff and painted it with some SEM trim paint, and it comes out like new. This is like a brand new cowl. I think these are $60 or $70. You know, a lot of people would just replace this stuff instead of fixing what they have. I like using OEM components because a lot of this aftermarket stuff isn't up to the snuff that OEM products were. I mean, not that these cars were super nice back in the day. These were kind of econo boxes. Ford didn't plan on these becoming collectible. They just thought they'd end up in the scrapyard like every other car. This applies to any other type of car as well. Just a little bit extra time and effort, and you can have a really nice result and have something that you're proud of. Make sure if you like these videos, you do like and subscribe so you can see whenever I have more content coming out. I'll probably skip uploading a video for this next week just because of how cold it's going to be. Right now it's 5 degrees out here in Iowa. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to keep heating the garage. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to heat the garage with not a lot of work getting done right now. I have a lot of parts coming this week, a lot of parts to finish the engine up, a lot of parts to finish the suspension up, and get it fired up. We got a hog ass cam coming for this small block. Probably gonna be picking up a parts car this next week, hopefully, if everything works out right. A lot of good parts coming off this car, a lot of brand new small block Ford parts, which will help out a lot. You know, maybe this motor wound up being a fire breather after all. I'm pretty happy with the work we've gotten done so far though. We got the master cylinder, all the brake lines and everything cleaned up, put back on. Got a lot of the grommets and everything put back on. Got to put the steering shaft and rack back in. Got the control arms cleaned up. And yesterday I went and picked up a set of FR500s. Cheapest set of FR500s I've seen by far. They're black. I'll probably end up polishing the lip just because I like the way that looks. These tires were apparently used for a gender reveal, so it's gonna need new back tires, which is fine. We'll make that work. But I paid $300 for the set, which is a steal for a clean set of FRs. So I have to get SN95 ball joints for these, so these will work with the SN95 spindles. I also have the battery relocation stuff coming to put the battery in the trunk. Got the battery cables. We're gonna run 2-gauge cables just for now. I also have things to make -6 feed lines for the fuel feed, because I'm not overly fond of using rubber hose. I think -6 braided line looks better. I'm also going to do an aftermarket alternator bracket to eliminate the tensioner, and so I don't have to run the smog pump delete pulley, so that'll work out a little bit better, I hope. Another thing I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start showing you guys how I did things more rather than just cutting to them being done. I think it would provide a lot more entertainment to show things and how I'm doing them rather than them already being done. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So make sure if you guys do have any questions, you leave them down below in the comments. I'm always pretty good about getting back to anybody who has questions about the build or any of my other projects. So that's going to be it for this video, you guys. Stay warm, stay safe, and y'all take care now.